Hey yo, what's up, and welcome to my corner of the internet. I could have easily tried to make 3 separate videos on these 3 anime, but to be honest, it would be kind of redundant. I really wouldn't have anything new to say. What hasn't already been said about these 3 amazing animes? And I would like to call them the Golden 3, which is indicative of how amazing each of these anime are. But to be honest, I would like to invite you on this nostalgia trip with me, and hopefully we just enjoy the great moments, and maybe it makes you want to relive those great moments, because I definitely did. I spent an entire 2 weeks just rewatching all of this in between doing schoolwork and making art. And now that I have appreciated these animes, I just can't believe how spoiled we were at the opportunity to see these 3. And of course, I'm talking about Samurai Champloo, Trigun, and Cowboy Bebop. These 3 animes are heralded as some of the best showcasing of what anime has to offer. This is one of those animes that's amazing. It has action, it has thrills, and it has some of the best fights, and a lot of the animation still holds up. But what Samurai Champloo is beyond just the simple aesthetics of anime.
Now, you may want to write this down, because you ain't going to want to forget it.
Samurai Champloo ushered in an era of music. It mixed in so many different ideas and aesthetics that now to this day, it's visible. We can see that. And one of its most heralded producers of some of the music, some of the OST is talked about as classical and amazing, and you can't go anywhere without appreciating this music and its influence in our modern day music today. Samurai Champloo is about a non-linear adventure where we just get to appreciate characters going through moments, and we're just on a search for something, and the search is damn near non-existent, but at the end of the day, it's still something of an adventure, and it's very indicative of life. And Samurai Champloo has some of the coolest fights and can stand toe-to-toe with animation to this day. A story that was nonsensical at times, funny at times, and was good in dub and sub either way. That's kind of a reoccurring theme with these 3. These shows are amazing in dub or sub regardless. Samurai Champloo is in my top 10 indefinitely, and I still listen to its opening song because it's fire. I listen to some of the tracks from its album, and I still appreciate all of it, and I still rewatch some episodes on occasion. All in all, it's top 10, and I love it so much. Now, time for Cowboy Bebop. Now, I have to be honest with you, I didn't get Cowboy Bebop when I first saw it, because the first episode is so traumatizing and so emotional, and as like a happy-go-lucky kid that just wanted to watch One Piece, wanted to watch a little kid become a fighter and fight villains, Cowboy Bebop was heavy, bro. Like that first episode hits you. It hits you with emotion, it hits you with honesty, it hits you with maturity, it hits you with more adult themes. And it was like, wow, I totally don't want to watch this because it was so emotional. But fast forward, and then I'm watching it and I'm seeing it, and I appreciate the beauty of it. I appreciate its adult themes. I appreciate the aesthetic. If you think about cool, you think about cool, calm in a jazz club, and you feel the smoke and people are drinking whiskey. It's very grounded in humanity, even though this is a time way ahead of ours and very futuristic, a bit of a dystopian sci-fi feel to it at times. Cowboy Bebop is probably, if not the best anime ever. And Some people debate it. If you want to, hey, you'll sound crazy to anybody. One of those animes that has a solid aesthetic. When you see a screen pull or you see some sort of music, it's all just aesthetically pleasing and it transports you to Cowboy Bebop. Each episode can stand alone, and even if one episode is just a beginning of this idea, it's still so beautiful. Cowboy Bebop is a labor of love. It is just filled with so much love and creation and creativity. When they decided to make this anime, they just put their entire soul into it and put humanity into it, and we're following a non-linear story, which is a recurring theme, and also it's heavily influenced by music. Each of the episodes in some way references a different style of music or genre, and that's incredible, and I totally didn't get that. And Cowboy Bebop, when you watch it, you feel that. It feels so human. It makes you feel things, and it makes you feel like, wow, existing is a lot.
Yo, wait, stop! Go!
What the hell's that?
I got a thing for reals.
Next time, keep it covered!
Cowboy Bebop is one of those stories that will never be old. I can rewatch it as many times as possible, and a lot of its adult and mature themes really do still bother me, and it's a little bit heavy. It stands the test of time. That's what all three of these anime do. It stands the test of time, and they could go up against some of the best anime out there, some of the new perceived best, and some of the newer stories. These anime once again showcase what anime can do and how amazing and beautiful it can be. Also, Spike is still top tier main character ever, and the crew of Bebop is absolutely amazing. Each of them have their reasons, their motives, and their trauma and their issues, and wow, some of those episodes, like Faye's episode and backstory, that one, like, wow, that hurt. But anyway, now time for my favorite, Trigun. Funny enough, I talked to someone about this video and this idea, and they said verbatim, isn't Trigun sadder than Cowboy Bebop? And funny enough, after rewatching it for 2 weeks, I realized, yeah, Trigun is actually a little bit more sadder than Cowboy Bebop. But I think the difference was Trigun was a little bit more subtle with its sadness. You didn't necessarily feel the depth of sadness in Vash until, I guess, halfway through the episodes, halfway through the show. And also, it was always seemingly fun until it wasn't, I guess is the best way to put it. Trigun is one of those animes that is somewhat forgotten, even though it's one of the best. This story can stand up against any of the stories. It deserves to be heralded just as much as Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo. I don't think it has the same musical aesthetic, but I think it has a solid aesthetic in a way of showcasing its storytelling, and I think a lot of tropes and ideas are stolen from Trigun, and I think the archetype of Vash the Stampede is repeated all over anime.
You know what, friend? Anyone ever tell you that you lack compassion?
And also, one thing I enjoyed about
Vash the Stampede,
damn near immortal, damn near perfect, and he still lost, and it was interesting to see how he changed from that loss and how he dealt with the arguments and the discussion and how his growth shifted as he dealt with new challenges and at times failed to be all that he wanted to be.
This world is made of...
Made of love and peace!
I think why I appreciate Trigun now is because it feels human and it feels honest, and it also feels simplistic in the way that we follow Vash and we follow the people that follow Vash and we follow his story, and we see how he lives and we see how he tries his best to mimic humanity and he tries his best to be human. It's also interesting in Trigun to notice how Vash seems to be the most human of everybody, even though he's not necessarily human, but everybody else, the bounty hunters, are they're not very human. They do very callous and hateful things. They do horrible things. But Vash still loves them and still wishes to protect them and still wishes not to kill them. And I liked how the situation would always push Vash, and inch by inch by inch, each episode would push Vash and make Vash question himself. That's a very, very unique thing about Trigun. A lot of anime do not have change or character development. Trigun is filled to the brim with character development, stories, and intriguing moments where we see the development of characters, situations, settings, and we see a story unfold and gain more depth, and we learn so much more about Vash the Stampede. It's funny enough when I think about the Golden Three and I think about these anime, and from watching them I realized we were spoiled. We were spoiled with great characters, great settings, beautiful aesthetics, and actually amazing writing. And it sucks, and I don't want to be that person that's just like, wow, anime doesn't have this. A lot of anime does have this, but I feel like these anime, and they're not the only ones, but I think they were the best at it of what happened back then when we were kids or when we were younger. These anime teach, and a lot of anime, it's very hard to say which anime really teaches nowadays, really helps you come off with something other than the generic, you have to do your best, you have to be good, and this, that, these, and those. It's funny enough, they try to answer some very difficult and humanly questions, and in between the violence, in between the tropes, and even in between some of the great fights in animation, they think about the ideas of being human and living your life in each of these characters and stories. And I think that's incredible, and that's why I think the Golden Three should be their great name. And I also hope, if you've never seen these three anime, please go watch it. If you have someone that's never seen it, make them go watch it. Do whatever you can to make sure everybody knows about these three anime. But anyway, I think that's it. I hope you have a great day, and if you disagree or you do agree, please let me know. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and be easy.